Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. Normally, we seem to have a sweet tooth, but in today's episode, we're going savoury. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori.
Hello.
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us. It's the day. Today
it's the day.
Is the day.
It's the day. What is it the day for, Joanne? What is it the day for?
It is the day to drink the mustard beer.
I can't stop singing that song. If anybody was a fan of Buffy back in the day, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I used to watch that every week that it came out.
I'm still a
my friend's house
Buffy
who
fan.
lived two doors down. I went down there. We'd watch it together. Even on a school night, we'd watch it together, and then I'd walk home. And yeah, it was great. But the musical, they got the mustard out song. And basically every time now that I go to reach for Joanne's beer, I talk about her beer. Literally all I want to do is sing "They Got the Mustard Out," and I'm not going to do it. I'm not.
I think you should do it. I'm upset that you're not going to sing it. I'm not going to do the harmonies.
Nobody wants it. You could do both parts because literally, I love that
I'll sing
song.
It when we get the beer.
It gets in my head. Yeah, when we get the mustard out.
When we actually get the mustard beer out, I'll do it. So everyone who's going, what are these two nutters talking about? If you haven't heard of this bit when we were talking about it, if you haven't listened to our podcast,
welcome.
I brewed a mustard beer. We'll get into the whole ins and outs of it when we talk about it, but it's a whole thing.
Kind of the inspiration, wasn't it? Of what are we going to drink that we'll have it on the podcast because it'd be really good to have on the podcast. But what are we gonna have it with on the podcast? Because we wanted to get all these different brand collaboration stuff. At the time of us coming up with this idea, it felt like there was only really the Seven Brothers and Pizza collaboration, and then all these other ones in the US. Now obviously we've got the Brewdog, Tony's Chocolonely, all these different brands. Yeah, well, we have all the different ones now, but at the time of conception of this episode we didn't, so we're like, what else can we do with it? Savoury beers.
Savoury beers. Now I think this is really interesting. I find it really interesting when a brewery uses I don't want to say weird because they're not necessarily weird ingredients, but just you tend to think of beer as being sweet. So when someone sticks sun-dried tomato in their beer, you're a bit like, oh, that's exciting.
I think it's not so much even sweet. It's you tend to think of it in a way that's in terms of sweet to savory scale. You kind of think of sweet to neutral. You don't really tend to think into savory territory, I don't think.
But there are so many ingredients that can go in beer and brewers have used that can make it slightly savory, which is really interesting. I'm just interested. Interested is the word of the day.
Interested. That is exactly what I would say about these beers as well. As I'm definitely interested. So what are we drinking today? We've got a Yorkshire Pudding Pale Ale, and as Joanne just showcased, we have a sun-dried tomato and sweet basil gose.
Oh, you went American then?
What? What? Because I said I can't say.
You don't say tomato.
No, it makes me feel wrong. It makes me feel wrong.
Did you say basil? Or did you say basil?
Basil.
Oh,
yeah,
so American.
Basil. Because I just I have a friend named Basil.
Oh,
well, that's not his name, but that's his nickname.
Right.
Basil.
You call him Basil. You don't call him Basil.
Yeah, because that's in Austin Powers, the character in Austin Powers' name is Basil.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, and that's where the nickname
if
comes
you're
from.
here's a herb. I don't know. So I changed that up. I changed that up depending on how just my brain at the time.
This is brilliant. You don't get very American very often.
Basil, because it's like banana. I say banana because it would just be weird for me to go banana. It was weird.
Do you say oregano or do you say oregano?
Oregano.
Oregano.
And but if you were talking about the state, you wouldn't say
that's Oregon.
What I'm saying is I would say oregano, not oregano. But if you're talking about the state, Oregon.
Brilliant. I love it.
Yeah. Okay. This
What's
feels
the other
wrong.
one that I want to know? Do you say cilantro or do you say coriander?
I definitely say no. So I say cilantro,
right?
if I'm like if it's
If it's
something
like the
I'm
leafy
making,
bit.
but I know I can like I
Like coriander as a flavour.
yeah. Like it depends. It's the if I'm going to a British restaurant, I'll say one thing. If I'm there's a lot of things. The way my mind works, so far removed from beer, but the way my mind works is like I know
Do you
if
have
I'm
to
talking to someone.
translate?
Yeah, like if I'm talking to
Like
someone
if
in
you're
the
talking it like
US,
as if
I
you
would
were talking in
say
a different language. That's
so if
interesting.
I was on the phone with my mum,
Interesting.
interested. The theme of today is interested. If I was on the phone with my mum, I would say, yeah, Rick is out in the garage.
Okay. Yeah.
And I have been on the phone with her where she's asked about it. And I've said, oh, yeah, the garage. And then I've said, oh, let me ask him. And then I've turned to my husband and said, like, oh, my mum wants to know about the garage. Because
Wow.
my brain just
Yeah.
it's the same thing of like when
Yeah.
I'm typing a message on Facebook or whatever else to a friend or family member in the US or a message. No, I used to, maybe not as much anymore with my family because I've just with my family, I've just kind of been like, whatever, I'm just typing quick to respond. But I very much used to spell things the US way for my US friends and family. And then when I'm speaking any other time over here,
Yeah.
I type things in a British way.
Oh.
When I talk about my mum, I'd say like MOM.
MOM.
But then when I'm talking to people over here, I'll say MUM because I just like, oh, it's just weird. I don't want to be atted about that. But.
So my mum used to tell me off talking American. when I was in the US, I'd ring her on the weekends, and because we didn't get much time off the ship, so I'd be like running errands and buying snacks and getting whatever and going to Starbucks and getting a coffee. And I'd have her on the phone and be like, hang on, I'm at the front of the queue in Starbucks. And I'm like, can I get her blah 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 please? And
it's the like, can I get her?
Joanne, it is not can I get her, it is please may I have. I'm like, Mum, in America, it's fine.
Yeah. To be fair, it is really funny that you said, because I don't know. I think it depends on the setting. It depends on the setting with which I go with.
I think I still say, can I get her? I think it's ingrained now. I don't think I can go back.
I'll say please. Like it's not like
please. I don't know. I always say please at the end, but I say, can I get her rather than please may I have.
Interesting. Would you say how would you say the thing that you do, not a shower, but you soak in it?
What, bath?
Yeah.
Not a bath. It's a bath. I'm from down south, love. Bath,
I feel like I talk like I'm northern half the time. From a West Country northern person. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, interested. Back to the beers.
Anyway,
no one wants to hear me talk about the way my brain works. It's a scary, scary thing, and I'm just so sorry. Right. So it's been a long day. Should we?
Yeah, let's crack open this Yorkshire Pud Pale. I'm excited for this. I'm really glad you got your hands on this, actually.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting.
The story of that.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Kind of interested. I originally saw this. I don't know if it was on like a Facebook post or an advert on Facebook or something like that. I think it was an ad on Facebook, and I saw it coming from the. Oops, it's a little bit lively, but it's not as lively as my
a bit lively.
Brew dog.
We do not have
spillage. It was lively, wasn't? Yeah, it wasn't a bad one. But yeah, I saw C84 basically promoting it. It came up as a sponsored ad on my Facebook page, and I was like, we had basically limited what we were having down to your beer and pizzazz, and we were like, we need another savoury one, and we tried to get a few that we'll mention sort of later in the episode. And really struggled, and I was like, I can't find another savoury one. And then this showed up on my Facebook feed, and I was like, perfect, Yorkshire pudding. The episode's going to be either savoury ingredients or a flavour palette that's going to be savoury. So I was like, that sounds really good, Yorkshire pudding, I'll go with that. Went to go get it on the website. They only had them in I think it was like a 6-pack. Like you couldn't. They were all sold out of singles, but you could buy multiple packs. And I was like, I only want like 2, because I'm trying to be really good with my beer buying, so I'm trying not to overbuy it. And you couldn't mix and match; you had to get a set because it was sold out of the single cans. So I was like, no, that is crap. But yeah, it all kind of came from seeing it on Facebook. So this is a Yeah, Yorkshire Pudding Pale. It is made with 100% real Yorkshire pudding. So this is a collaboration between C84 Brew Co. and a Yorkshire Pudding Beer Brewery, which I'd never heard of before.
Oh, a
It
Yorkshire
smells very
pudding.
bready.
It smells. Do you know what? It smells like beer.
Yeah, no, but it has that.
I
I think it has that like malty breadiness to it, and almost a little bit of like lemon, citrus.
Yeah, there's a bit of citrus in there.
It does smell like you smell it and you're
like a beer. Like, it smells like my granddad having a pint.
Yeah, but I like in a good, like in a really good way.
That's refreshing.
It is refreshing.
It's quite dry on the finish as well.
Yeah, and it's got that nice level of bitterness. So what I did make note of. So outside of the Yorkshire pudding, so basically what they use for the hops is what's called Northern Brewer hops. So you might know more about this than I do, but what I found out about these hops is that they are a bitter in hop. So that would explain why there is that nice bit of bitterness added to it.
Yep.
And that apparently to create this strain, it was a cross between Brewer's Gold and Canterbury Golding, and that happened in the 1940s. That's how we got this hop. So I thought I'd share that because it was Canterbury Golding.
Yeah.
Thought you might want to know.
Yeah.
But basically the description of this beer literally is described as a beer that it couldn't be more Yorkshire if it tried, because it effectively, the Yorkshire puddings so this beer comes, the collaboration is Yorkshire Pudding Beer Company, which are based in Malton in Yorkshire, which I hadn't heard of the Yorkshire Pudding Beer Company until this. The Yorkshire puddings come from the Real Yorkshire Pudding Company, and that's based in Doncaster. And then, it's literally, they use these Northern Brewer hops. So it is very, very Northern.
Yeah. I like it. It's, so it's got that little bit of bitterness, and then it's got like a bit of bready sweetness.
But actually, I must say, I'm getting a bit of, I almost want to say saltiness to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But like in a really, not in the way that you get when you kind of when you have a gose or something like that. It's just, it does have that savoury element of like a slightly salted, bready dinner complement.
Yeah, like nice. the malt that you're getting from it isn't sweet.
No.
And that edge has probably been taken off by those bitter in hops. It's very drinkable.
It is. I wouldn't say like, would I say it tastes identical to a Yorkshire pudding?
No.
But I can see all these different elements kind of coming into play, and it's the fact that it's made with the Yorkshire puddings, which you do get that element of
interesting
savoury baked good. So what is it? I guess what's really important for anyone that's listening from the US, like, what is a Yorkshire pudding? I call them Yorkie peas. Yorkshire pudding, I would describe it most, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but what I'd say for people in the US, I'll translate for you. It's kind of similar-ish to like a popover.
That's what I've been told that they were like, because I said to America, so the second ship I ever went on was a P&O ship, which is a British cruise line. And one night we were having, because traditionally you only get Yorkshire puddings with roast beef. I do Yorkshire puddings with every roast. Like that's nonsense.
We do it with like
everything.
My in-laws, everything.
If I didn't do Yorkshire puddings when I did a roast, my husband would actually divorce me.
My favorite part of the roast. Like it's my. I don't understand
pudding.
How I didn't. I don't understand how you guys could have kept this. Like, is this the payback that you guys had because we dumped your tea in a river? Like, is that why?
This is what you get.
That's it.
You don't get Yorkshire puddings.
Your punishment now.
Got rid of the tea.
It's what you get. No Yorkie peas.
So what happens when you you become a republic? You don't get Yorkshire puddings.
Yes. Then I come over here, like, what is a Yorkshire pudding? What is this?
Yeah.
Have it, and I'm like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever. It's my favorite part of a roast.
But are popovers like a dessert?
No.
What are they? So I don't actually know what they are, but one of the Americans was like, I picked these up because I thought they were popovers. I was like, they're Yorkshire puddings, mate. Stick a bit of gravy in that.
They do. The thing is, like, I think they do
taste. What is a popover?
They do taste different. It's like it's another baked good. Hold on, let me try to find.
Is it made out of batter? Because that's the thing with Yorkshire pudding, isn't it? It's made out of batter.
I think so. To be honest, I've never made one.
Oh,
I think so.
And let's not get into Toby in the hole.
Egg batter. Yeah. It's similar to Yorkshire, but so I've just looked it up to try to see like what the ingredients are because I've never had them as like sweet or anything like that.
Okay.
But I wasn't sure if maybe somewhere else does it like that. But when you Google popover, it does come up as a light roll made from an egg batter similar to that of a Yorkshire pudding, typically baked in a muffin tin or dedicated popover pan. So that is very much like a Yorkshire
it's very much like a Yorkshire pudding.
Yeah, I think the bit for me, from my memory, a popover has less of like the hole in the middle that you get. It does tend to look more like a muffin kind of.
Okay. What do you eat them with?
You kind of like you have them by themselves sometimes.
They're just like a side.
Like, you can just have it by itself,
like a bread roll, but not really.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the type of popover you're making. You can have it on its own, really, or you can have it with like I think I've seen people have it with like gravy and more like southern cooking.
Like I was gonna say like gravy or like sausage gravy. She says air quotes for the
like
listeners.
Southern cooking gravy.
Like the white, like the weird like white
KFC.
Right.
KFC.
So gravy. Like the like white sausage gravy that isn't gravy, it's basically a sauce.
I don't think I've ever had
They put it on like biscuits and things. Biscuits being like American biscuits, not our cookies.
Not your biscuits. I was thinking this is the problem with like
because I was like gravy.
Like why are we using the same name? I
don't know.
Things? Like,
I don't know. It's very confusing.
Pants should be jeans. Like let's just be clear about that. Pants should be jeans because you're confusing me.
But not all trousers are jeans.
Biscuits, no, but still. It's a whole separate thing, but that's basically pop-up. You can have cheese popovers are really good.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it can just be kind of a side to sort of anything, or you can make sweeter popovers. Like I think that's the thing is you can make them in so many different types of ways. Whereas like Yorkshire puddings always tend to just be savoury, goes with roast.
I mean, I've seen dessert Yorkshire puddings now. It's not common, but I have seen people do them. I've never had one because Yorkshire puddings for roast dinner and you put gravy in it.
I mean, I would definitely have one. Like, I wouldn't say no to it, but
I think people put jam in it.
Oh, that's an interesting take. I think you can do that with popovers, to be fair. So it does sound like that is probably really similar. Yeah, like I remember trying to explain it to my mum, and I was like, "Yeah, so like try this," and then she was like, "What is it? Oh, it looks like a popover." So I think she tried to make it once. Bless, she really tried to, but
it's an art form.
Yeah, it takes a lot of like. I've never tried because
you never tried to make Yorkshire puddings.
It's too stressful.
You never tried to make. My
sister-in-law does it.
Toad in the hole.
No, it's too stressful. Can't be doing that. Just can't be.
I make good Yorkshire puddings. They get really big.
I think I've seen those at festivals. You get the Yorkshire pudding like wraps and stuff, or like you get like a sandwich made out of Yorkshire pudding, and I'm like, amazing. Like I would definitely have that. But yeah, I think it was really a pain actually to get this. So what was really good was I'll go quickly over what I learned from them, because actually what ended up happening was in order for me to get it, I got in touch with a fella called Carl from the C84 Facebook post. So I basically like commented saying, how can I get this? Like, is there anywhere else I can buy it in just a single? Like, any recommendations that of shops, that you sell it to, whatever I could do to get it, I want to do it for a podcast. How can I get in touch with it? And he basically said to email him. So I emailed him, and he was very kind enough to basically put me in contact with the guy from Yorkshire Pudding Beer Co., whose name is Howard. And in the process, we had this like three-way sort of mail going on, and don't smirk at that.
A three-way conversation. I thought that was interesting.
Well, you had a smirk. That distracted me. We had a chain of mails going between the three of us. And he basically was trying to see if Howard was able to find a few cans or bottles, because apparently they have it in bottles as well. And sort of in the process, I was able to ask some questions, which was really good. So yeah, I feel really bad because they were like, oh, Howard said, I'll send you some if you want for this, like, just either pay postage or whatever. And I was like, yeah. And I think something happened with our emails, because I was responding to him and then he was responding to me saying, I don't know if you've responded, like, I don't know if you've seen my email. I've not got a response from you. I found some cans. What's your address? I could send it to you. And I responded, and then I didn't get a response again. So I think that there was an issue with email.
Disappeared into the ether of the internet.
I feel really bad because I think he probably thinks that I've just like reached out, asked for help, and then just totally ignored him. But I was like, there's no point in me emailing again because he's obviously not getting the email.
Yeah.
But he was very, very helpful. Both of them very, very helpful. Like, lovely people. And I ended up going back on when they had this sale and finding out they did sell them in single cans.
Yeah,
so that was really good. So I got them anyway. So basically the high level of it is Carl basically advised Howard is based in Malton, where his brewery is based in Malton, and basically what they said is it sells itself as the food capital of that area, which I didn't know anything about that. I thought that was quite interesting, and he really underlined that by saying that on sort of the way that Howard goes to his brewery, on the side of a building, there's a Yorkshire pudding recipe that's on the side of the building, which is where Howard apparently got this idea to put Yorkshire puddings in the beer. I don't know, to be fair, I don't know if Howard is just the brewer, I'm not sure about all that aspect of it, but that's where he got the idea from it originally. And Carl, working for a larger brewery, he was already acquainted with Howard via something called the Horsetown beer range that they did, that Howard worked on, because apparently also Malton is well known for horse racing. Again, I didn't know any of that. I just play the I'm foreign card. I don't know enough about places in the country. Know that either. I feel like there's so much like little things that you can learn through beer about all these different places. So I'm like, that's really cool and interesting. Wouldn't have known if I didn't drink beer, honestly. And then Howard came and told me that basically he came up with the idea in 2019. Every time he would brew that, it would sell out within hours. It was like a huge hit. He was soft selling it in 2020, but he knew that he could make more of it if given the opportunity. And so my understanding from there is that him and Carl just agreed that, it would be a great idea for beer, and Carl would help with the scaling up of that beer, and the hope would be that it would become more well known. And the great thing about it is, I know we've talked about Toast a lot of time and other sustainable beers, and sustainability wise, the beer is a product of a circular economy. So Howard's brewery gets the discarded Yorkshire puddings. They're ones that are still good, but they can be sold. I'm assuming it's misshapen, or there's something wrong with it that stops it from being able to be put on a market.
Body shaming the Yorkshire puddings.
All Yorkie peas are beautiful,
right? I will eat. I don't care what you look like. I'm going to eat you anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter to us. We love you anyways. But they effectively save these Yorkie peas from being dumped in a landfill, and they turn them into delicious beer. So that is what's really great. If you want to learn more about the Yorkshire Pudding Beer Company, and how they make these beers and where to get them and all that, you can go to www.yorkshirepuddingbeer.com. I'm sure Joanne will put that in the show notes, but you can learn more about it there. But I just thought I'd give the high level overview, and say thank you to both of them for trying to help. Thanks. I don't know what happened with email. If you are listening to this, which you're probably definitely not, but if you are, I'm really sorry. I don't know what's happened. I did respond to you every single time. I don't know why you didn't get it.
Oh dear.
But lovely beer, very delicious. I was a bit I've seen it over social media quite a bit as well, and I was like, I don't know if it's going to be underwhelming. Like, I don't know if it's going to be one of those things that just ends up tasting like a macro lager or something like that. It was actually really, really nice.
It tastes nice. It's got a really nice aroma. Very pretty.
And the price points, I've ordered a bunch of stuff from C84, and the price points are really, really good as well. So yeah, that's my bit on the Yorkshire Pudding Pale.
Yay. I like that. Should we crack this pizza beer?
Yeah, I'm a bit nervous. So like when I first saw this one, so I think I saw a Yorkshire Craft shop posted it.
Yeah.
And my first thought was like, yes, you can use sun-dried tomato and basil for a beer. Should you? I don't know. Like, my expectation of what this is going to be pizza. I mean, it's a pizza on the can art if you're watching the video. I was like, it's going to be pizza in a can. If that's good, I don't know. But Brass Castle, we are going to find out.
I just like that it's called pizzazz. Because then
I think jazz hands. Like I want to do.
It makes me think of Gem and the Holograms, and Pizzazz was the baddie.
It makes me want to do jazz hands. I don't know.
So I feel like this should be like, it should be neon yellow because that was the colour of Pizzazz's hair.
A bit nervous to drink this.
Yeah,
we did this one second because the fact that I've got a feeling this is going to be a very distinct.
So either it's going to be absolutely amazing, or we're going to go.
It's going to be concerning.
I feel like there's not. I feel like there's not going to be like any grey area on this, right? I'm cracking it.
I think sometimes it could be that it's not what I'd necessarily drink again, but it's interesting and
it smells nice.
It does, but it does smell very sun-dried tomato basil. It has a sweetness to it in the smell. It smells very basil-y in the glass.
Oh, it does.
It smells like pizza spices. Like when you're saucing, it's when you go to sauce your tomato sauce and you put the herbs in. Did I say that one right? Herbs. You put those in. That's what this smells like.
I really like the smell.
It smells like a garden.
It smells
fresh.
It smells like fresh basil. There's a bit of, maybe is it aniseed in it?
Yeah, I can see where you're. Yeah. I can see what, like, very deep down.
Yeah,
very subtly deep down. It's like, this is gonna sound really weird, but when you're sort of taking in the aromas of beers and you're like, okay, the surface level smell is like this, and then you're like, but when you dig down into that smell, you're like, I can see how this smell presents itself in this way, but when you look past that surface level smell, it smells different.
When I first smelt it, when I first cracked the can, it made me think of Dr. Pepper. So maybe it's peppery that I'm getting more.
Have you drunk Pepper in quite a long time?
I haven't had Dr. Pepper in ages, but it makes me think of Dr. Pepper. Right. Are we going in?
I'm scared. Okay, ready?
Okay, ready? One, two, three.
It's very
that is savoury.
I don't know how to feel.
Not enjoy it.
I don't know.
I feel like it's.
I genuinely don't know.
So it's a gose.
It's very
So it is quite salty,
but it's also a bit more tart than I was expecting.
It is. If you look on the can, it is brewed with lactobacillus. So there would be some. That's going to give you. So lactobacillus gives you kind of yogurty, buttermilky type flavours.
I don't know. Oh, the aftertaste is very much tomato. Like I just had a mini burp and it was very like I just had a piece of like frozen pizza. Like Dr. Oetker's cheese pizza.
I like it.
I don't know.
But there is, so I like it, but then there is like, it kind of disappears and then there is this tomatoey linger that comes right at the end. I don't know if I like that bit.
What's really weird to me, I love tomatoes. Like I used to literally
I'm not a fan of tomato.
I used to just eat that as a kid. Like honestly, literally, you just give me a bowl of them, I'd be like, yes, let's do this. Carrots. So I like that. I think how we just said a minute ago, we've got a feeling it's either got to be really good or really like questionable, and there's no in between. For me, I think it actually is an in between because I can't tell.
Yeah,
if I really like it or
about
really
it.
Don't.
That was a lie. There is a grey area, and it's that I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Is I don't know how I feel.
It's interesting.
Definitely interesting.
It's just
Theme of today.
Like it's not bad
because it's like there's that strong first taste, and then you're right. It sort of dips down, and then comes back full force for the aftertaste. Very tomato. So it's like herb forefront, very herb led,
salty,
and then salty dip down, and then tomato linger,
and then kind of sweet tomato.
The tartness isn't there as much. Like after the first two sip, like the first sip, I was like, ooh, and then after that,
that really mellows out.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's a sipper. Like I don't think it's one that I'm like. It's not, when I say it's not easy drinking, I don't mean it because it's like, oh, it's difficult.
It's not cloying. It's not like, there is a little bit of dryness to it. It's just not necessarily something that I want to drink a lot of. Not because it's bad, just because I don't know, the flavors aren't for me.
Like really rich chocolate. Do you really want a whole bar of really rich chocolate? No, because it's too rich. You need something that like you can have a whole bar of like sweeter chocolate. But there's certain things that it's like, it doesn't matter how good it is, you couldn't necessarily sit there and have a lot of it because it's a very particular taste that doesn't really lend itself to high volumes. But
I think it's a little bit too savoury for me to want to drink lots of it.
I would agree with that. I think
because I'm not necessarily finding it thirst quenching. I'm just finding it an interesting flavour profile.
Yeah, I think like I wouldn't say I dislike it, but the flavour profile is not what I would lean on regularly.
Like, yeah, if someone else went, oh, I've got this tomato and basil pizza beer, or just a tomato and basil beer, or anything, I'll put sun-dried tomatoes in this beer, I'll be like, cool.
I would try
going in my basket.
I would try it. Like if you were like a homebrewed this tomato beer, like I'd be like,
say that. You won't get me to do that
tomato beer.
Not just because I would say tomato, I just wouldn't brew a tomato beer because I don't like tomatoes.
But if you did, I would try it. Yeah. But it wouldn't be something that I'd be like, can't wait to go out and buy that one again.
Yeah. Please make me a tomato beer.
No, I wouldn't beg for that.
No. It's interesting. Good on you, Brass Castle, for giving it a go. And
I think, to be honest, like I can't even say that they didn't nail it.
No, they did. They've like what it says on the can is what's in your glass.
Like this, I was expecting pizza in a glass.
And I got pizza in the glass.
Yeah, like I kind of think as much as you can interpret pizza in a liquid form, I do feel like I got the elements of pizza.
Yeah.
And not like in a deconstructed way. Like I feel like sometimes you get something and you're like, oh, I can taste all the bits separate and they're all there and they're very like clearly defined. They are blended in here. It tastes like a pizza sauce. Not the pizza as a whole, but pizza sauce in a glass. But thinner.
Yeah. It reminds me of another savoury beer that I had from Time and Tide that was a beetroot and chili beer.
Ooh.
Now and it was a Hefeweizen with beetroot and chili. I'm not a massive fan of chili in beer.
I feel like it has to be done right.
You've just got to get it. You got to get it just right, I think. And I'm just not a massive chili fan anyway. Nothing against brewers putting chili in their beers. It's not one of the flavour profiles that I enjoy. And I also am not a massive fan of beetroot either. That's an understatement. I don't like beetroot.
Yeah,
but I thought it'd be interesting. I thought it'd be interesting to try. So shared a can with some people, and it was like beetroot's flavour is very earthy, and this beer was very earthy, and then heat at the end. It was interesting, and it gave you exactly what it said on the can. Would I buy it again? Unless we were doing it for something like this, then probably not. But it was an interesting beer, good on Time and Tide for giving it a go.
I think it's something that, like, if somebody else went, I'm going to make this like a tomato-based beer or whatever, I don't know if I'd necessarily buy a can of it, but I would, like, this experience wasn't so horrible that I'd be like, no. Like,
I'm not doing that again.
It's not bad. Yeah. Like it's like you said, it's interesting. So it would be something that, like, if I was going to a tap room or a bar that had it on tap, like I would try.
I'll try third.
I would try it. Or if I had someone like if we lived closer together and I could easily share a beer with you, like, yeah, of course I would buy another one and share it, but I wouldn't buy it to have completely by myself again.
Yeah.
Because I think that would just be
I think that's fair.
Yeah, no, I find it really interesting when brewers use these ingredients. So I was trying to think of all these like other breweries that tend to do. So I think like Yonder play around with these more savoury things quite a fair amount.
They did a beer with sea buckthorn in.
Yeah,
which makes it very orange.
Yeah, what was I feel like they did a beetroot one, didn't they, as well?
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, didn't they? Wasn't it a
I think we tried to
barrel-aged
get their
beetroot
beetroot
beer?
one, and
We tried to get a couple of different. We also tried to get Boundary did a beetroot beer, and we didn't manage to get hold of that one either.
couldn't get a single.
And
beetroot
Time and Tide
beer.
aren't brewing the beetroot and chili one at the moment, so I couldn't get that one either.
We really
so
tried to find beetroot. That's how we ended up with Yorkshire. We really were like, mind is set on beetroot.
Yeah.
Let's go that. Couldn't find a single one. Not a single one.
Yeah, but I'm slightly annoyed. So because Brass Castle have now got out a carrot pale ale, and
I would have tried that.
Came out the other. I mean, it's out now, so we can get it and try it. But we didn't get one. I didn't manage to get hold of one for us in time for this podcast. But I'll definitely try that because I've had carrot in beer before, and it's been absolutely delicious.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is it carroty in taste? Like, is that?
We know how carrot is quite sweet. It kind of picks up those notes. So I had I believe it was a purple carrot wit beer from
interesting style for that.
From Duration, and it was really lovely. And it was just like the sweetness went quite well with like the florally bit of the wit beer. And I think that was one of the first Duration beers I had actually, and it was really lovely.
I say this really grows on you. It's
really grows still drinking it.
Yeah, it actually really grows in you. I think I can sip on it.
And that was called Deep Roots, and that was really good. I've also seen in a brewing book that I got out of the library when I was looking at different beer recipes and things, a parsnip beer.
Interesting.
Yeah, I have that recipe. I might have to brew a parsnip beer and see what it's like.
I think, like, to be fair as well, I think we talk a lot about like pumpkin beers and how much we both really like pumpkin beers.
Technically that's savoury.
Well, I was going to say, I think it's, when we have beers that are pumpkin beers and not pumpkin spiced beers, as we learned when we did our episode, obviously there's two different variations of that. Anytime you're using a gourd, like you're using a squash or a pumpkin or anything like that, and it's not spiced with those sweeter spices, it's going to be a bit more savory as well. Because I think we tried a few, maybe not even on the episode, I can't remember which specific one it was, but we definitely tried a few where it was just pumpkin, and I was like, it is a bit more earthy, more savory, more not what you think of when you think of pumpkin beer. And to that as well, I would also say, like, there's things that I would consider savory. Like, would you consider a smoked beer to be savory? I'd consider one.
I mean, it can be.
Depends on which one.
Yeah.
So, like, Up and Smoke from Brew York, I'd say no, that's not savory because
it's got the hickory barbecue bit to it.
There was that like element of the sweetness, like a mapley type sweetness to it, which the type of wood used, I think the type of wood they were going for that smoke effect of is like a sweeter resulting taste, I think. But I mean, I've definitely had smoked beers where I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely more of a savory taste to it.
When you get ones that taste like smoked bacon, savory. Like I had one from Brains Brewery at one of the Great British Beer Festivals, and that was just like you were drinking a glass of smoked meat.
Ooh.
Which was like, for a third of it was just perfect. Like, it was really interesting. You only want a third of it. It was lovely. For that, I wouldn't have wanted a pint of it, but because it was very savoury. And then, of course, you're going to go into, when you move away from your smoked beers, then we're going to look at like herbed beers.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this one's got basil in it. I've brewed with basil before.
I've seen lots of coriander in it.
My lemon and rosemary is a good combo.
Thyme. I think I've seen thyme.
Yeah, thyme goes well in it. Yeah. Herbs in beer are really good. I brewed an orange and basil saison because I had a really amazing orange. It was like a marmalade and basil saison from Wild Weather. It was amazing. And then I brewed one. It wasn't quite the same, but it hit the spot.
You tried.
I did.
That sounds amazing.
It's still tasty.
It does sound tasty, to be fair. But yeah, there's that. And then, like, when you were saying about chili and beer, like, I think it goes quite well in those the Mexican style stouts. It's good, but again, you have to get the right level of it. Like, I feel like it has to be, for me to enjoy ones with chili in it, especially like the stout, it has to hit the right spot at the right time, the right heat level. So it has to be a noticeable amount of heat, but not overpowering, and it has to hit sort of like to the back of my mouth when I'm having it. Like, I want it to want the burn to be like as I'm swallowing it's going down my throat, as opposed to like taking over my mouth. Like I want it to just be
I think you've got to get the balance
end touch, and it's got to be the right level of heat, because if it's too spicy, you're just like, it takes over. If it's not spicy enough, you think, what's the point of adding it?
Yeah. And there is I think it's always key to remember that there's a difference between spicy, spiced, and heat. And when you get from chili is heat.
Heat is what
you get from something like cinnamon, nutmeg is spiced, and then there's spicy, which can come from rye or your noble hops and things like that. So there's differences, and sometimes I think
heat is what I mean when it comes to chili.
When you come into chili, you want that bit of heat in the back,
but not too much, because too much just becomes overpowering and unenjoyable, and then you're like, I've lost all the flavors. I just need water. My mouth is on fire. What's that style of smoked beer? That's it's like a pretty classic style as well, and I can't think of what it's called.
Beer.
Yeah, I can never say the name of it, and I know it starts with an R, and I'm like, how do you pronounce that?
You're just trying to get me to say it, weren't you?
Yeah, that's one. I've never had one.
Yeah,
my understanding is that's smoked in like a
let's do a
bacony way, isn't it?
Let's do a smoked beer episode, and
I'll do it, even though
we'll get the smoked Marzen, the German smoked Marzen, which is amazing, and I'll Google how to pronounce their name because I always say it wrong.
I like a Marzen.
Schlenkeller, I think it is.
I'll do that because I like Marzens, but I'm not a massive like smoked beer fan. Like I always say, I'm not a massive smoked beer fan, but then I'll have like a really good one, and I'm like, I'll never say no. I'll pretty much try anything, even if it's something that I'm like, oh, I think like putting seafood and stuff in it, that
because then so then I had my first ever wild weather beer was the one that they brewed, which was the stout, which had oysters and scallops in it, I think, or scallops and seaweed.
I'm glad that wasn't
seaweed
my first
in beer.
I've had,
but it was really lovely.
I've had, I think in Japan, I think I had one with seaweed.
And like oyster stouts, you were like, blur, gross, and then you had one and it was fine. It's just the thought of it.
Literally, I hate seafood, so I think.
But they don't taste like seafood.
I'm really glad my first wild weather wasn't the seafood one. Like, I love you guys. Like, genuinely, I hope you know how much I love you. But seafood, like, it's not you, it's me. It's not you, it's me. It's like the mention of seafood, and I'm like, no.
Time which I did a squid ink goes once as well.
No.
Yeah, apparently it wasn't amazing.
Was it not? Like,
no.
Can't imagine. But then I guess if you like squid and you like squid,
but again,
maybe
interesting.
So I will, like I said, I will pretty much try anything, but actually that's a lie, because if it's something like that, it could be really interesting. But if you're like, squid ink, like seafood,
into it.
I'll even try, like, I don't like overly salty things. I think that's it. I had bad experiences as a kid at the ocean where you get a mouthful of water right there. So I just don't like seafood. But the furthest I'm willing to go is something like seaweed.
Okay.
Like, I will try something with seaweed in it, but the second you put like fish in it,
no,
or shellfish or anything, I'm like, no, done.
You're not a sushi fan.
Tapping out. No. I don't even like vegetable sushi.
Oh,
because I don't like the seaweed wrapper on it. And I mean, I
don't like
when I was in Japan
sushi. So
when I was in Japan and we went to KFC, because I had to try KFC. Like, I was like, I'm gonna try KFC there. Try the Taco Bell. The Taco Bell's fucking amazing. And not only that, they give you, like, you can get sangria at Taco Bell over there. Like, I have gone to Taco Bell more times there than I've gone
in the US.
Taco Bell in the UK. No, not in the US.
Like, in the UK.
No, in the UK. I definitely have gone to Taco Bell maybe like 3 or 4 times in Japan.
Wow.
Maybe 5. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But like, literally so good. But I was like, need to try KFC, because like KFC in Japan's like quite a big, like, that's the marketed Christmas meal.
Yeah, I was gonna say they eat it at Christmas, don't they?
Yeah. So that's like, you come to go like, oh yeah, and they've got stories about certain cities that have issues. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But I was like, need to try KFC, and I was like, I'll try this wrap, and it's like a teriyaki wrap, and I was like, I like teriyaki, like, let's go, it's be good. Fried chicken and teriyaki, count me in. Yeah. So what they do though is they put effing seaweed and effing seaweed wrap, like sprinkled seaweed stuff, like over so much of their food, especially like the KFC. I was like teriyaki, and then I was like, no, because they put, I think it's called nori. I think that's what, they put like nori in it. I'm like,
she was upset.
I couldn't eat it.
Oh no,
I didn't finish it. I gave it to Rick. I was like, that's
no,
because it's like some people love it, and I'm sure for their like taste buds, they enjoy it. They eat that more regularly. They put it on a lot of stuff. For me, it was too like oceany, and I was like, no, this chicken no longer tastes like chicken. I'm sad. That's my tangent about KFC in Tokyo.
On that note, shall we try the mustard beer?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this.
All right, mustard beer.
Magic has happened. We are back.
Mustard beer. I'm not even giving this one a fancy name. It is just being called mustard beer.
I'm going to give you a bit of live action situation here right now, Reggie.
Right, so Tori's got a Heinz mustard bottle and is squeezing the beer out of it into her glass.
It's aggressive. Oh, photo ops.
Do you know what? This is supposed to be a wheat beer and it's pretty much clear. I think it's one of the clearest beers I've ever made.
You know what though? Like I wouldn't say it's massively clear. Like I wouldn't say, you just see through it. I think I can see my finger. I can see a shadow of my finger. It's hazed enough. I've had wheat beers that are similar.
That's all right. I'm quite happy with it because there's not like huge amounts of bits in it.
It has this really like lovely summery smell to it.
Yeah. So there was a lot of fruit that went into this beer.
So basically, quick recap, and then I hand it over to you. What happened is Oscar Blues made a collaborative. I have the mustard here. They had a partnership. I used it for a rub for barbecue. They did Oscar Blues, a US brewery, made a collaborative beer with French's mustard. Yay! If you're looking at the video, I've got a bottle of French's yellow mustard.
It's like that proper yellow American mustard. Yeah.
classic yellow mustard.
Yeah.
And it's free from artificial colors and preservatives, so rest assured.
Is it?
Yeah, in case you were wondering. So they brewed it. I was like, that sounds so weird. I really want to try it because, I just pretty much want to try anything that I see that sounds really weird. I was like, that's a weird collaboration. Want to try that. Asked multiple people, how do I get my hands on it? What do I do? Literally everyone was like, just write it off, you're never going to get it.
Yeah.
it's not one of the Oscar Blues bits, because I thought, because it's Oscar Blues, there's a strong chance it might
we get Oscar Blues over here.
No, it was not to be. It never made it over here. And then one day Joanne was like, I found a copycat recipe for it, I could just make it for you. And I was like, girl, yes. So so I'll let you explain sort of the process, any challenges. Where did you actually find the recipe? Was it online?
So the recipe was in Pellicle magazine. I don't know how I stumbled across it. Someone somewhere said about it. I think I follow Pellicle magazine, and they put up on their Instagram post like, we've brewed the mustard beer so that you don't have to. And I was like, what is this? Mustard beer that Tori's been going on about. So I went and had a look, and they produced a homebrew recipe of it, because they were like, oh my god, a mustard beer, that's going to be gross, but we can't get any to try. Let's see what happens if we homebrew it. So they made a homebrew version. The recipe was there. I was like, I can make that. So you convinced me to do it, and here we are. I had to scale down the recipe because usually homebrew recipes are for about 20 litres of beer, which makes
want 20 litres.
I didn't want 20 litres, and my kit doesn't make 20 litres. My kit makes 5 litres, which is about 6 pints, 6 to 9 pints, depending on how much trub you get in the bottom. And also I've got better about not overfilling my demijohn, so when it ferments wildly, it doesn't shoot out everywhere.
Those were some great
over time
shots, though.
That one was going to do it. The donut beer was going to do it whether we liked it or not, because it was just, there's too much sugar in there. The yeast were very, very, very happy. So this beer is basically, it's got Maris Otter in it, which is a very classic pale base malt. It's got wheat in it. Then I used Galena hops, which give a bit of kind of lemony, limey aromas and flavors.
You really smell it. You do really smell that.
And then it's got lemon, lime, tangerine, and passion fruit in it. So it's got all of those juices. Plus, I also dry hopped it, so soaked in it after its primary fermentation. I added in the peel of the tangerines, the lemons, and the limes. And it was like two whole lemons, 2 whole limes, 2 whole tangerines, I think I put in. So that's quite a lot for a small recipe that I'm doing. And then the mustard part is I had to mix the mustard with water and bring it to the boil and create a mustard syrup. And then after you've put the juices into the beer, after it's done its primary fermentation, you put the juices in, you then put this cooled down mustard syrup in. It looked gross.
It sounds minging.
It looked really gross.
It doesn't like, let's put it this way. If it looked the way it sounded, it probably didn't look great.
Yeah, no, I took a video of it and was just like, this looks gross. This is not appetizing in the slightest. However, it did then settle out, and we've got like a pretty clear beer considering all the junk I put in this beer.
No, definitely. I don't know if you can see. I mean, my glass is the best in the video, to showcase
but look, mine's pretty.
Yours like better. I almost used my Three Hills glass as well.
Yeah,
I didn't. I went yellow. I went with the theme yellow.
Well done. It's pretty clear. So I had a little taste before I bottled it, and that it doesn't taste like mustard. At least it didn't taste.
But I think that's the thing that everyone was going on. Oh, mustard's gross, mustard's gross. And I was like, I don't think it was meant to taste not like mustard. So
from what I remember from the article, Oscar Blues used mustard seeds as opposed to actual mustard. And then that obviously gives, much like herbs, it's going to give a little bit of, and if you add, like, you can add peppercorns to a beer, that's going to give a little bit of pepperiness, a little bit of heat. And I think the heat from the mustard seeds, and from the mustard in this case, you're going to get a little bit of that heat like you do with chili in the back end of the beer, and that's just going to balance out all the fruitiness. So let's see what happens, shall we? Let's see how it goes.
Cheers.
It smells lemon and lime and tangerine.
Oh, it tastes more like it smells very citrus, like like you could tell you put a lot of stuff into it. It tastes a bit more lime than I was expecting it to be. Like it smells like lime, but it also smells like lemon and
I think I get more tangerine on the smell, but I get more lime in the taste.
And I can see I can taste the element of like I can taste heat, that like I can taste that mustardy element to it.
Yeah,
but it's not like you're drinking mustard. No,
and then it's supposed to be. It's supposed to go with barbecue. Do you think it would go really well with barbecue?
I don't know. Should I get something like barbecue flavored and see what it tastes like?
Or something?
Yeah. Let me find something barbecue. I've got a good one for you.
What have you got?
I forgot that I bought this on Sunday.
That's okay.
Yeah. I have got Billy Frank's British beef jerky cheeseburger flavored.
Nice. Let's see how this goes with your mustard beer. Here we go. Perfect. Right, live food and beer pairing for you.
Cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger jerky.
I can't open the damn thing. The gosh darn thing is so difficult to get open.
That's because you ripped it open aggressively.
I did aggressively rip it open. I think I've got it.
She's got it.
We're nearly there.
I think this has come out a bit more savoury than I expected.
Oh my god,
Does it smell like cheeseburger?
Just like really. There's definitely mustard in this. I don't know if I like it. I got it because I was like, cheeseburger? Like, I want to know what that tastes like. Fully expecting to not like it.
And there you go.
Oh, it's really
right, here goes. Cheeseburger jerky.
That's difficult to eat. Here with my hamburger.
She's eating a cheeseburger jerky. Now she's going to drink the beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd take gose. I wouldn't say I particularly like this jerky. Tastes like, doesn't taste like cheeseburger as much as it tastes like pulled pork.
Oh, that's interesting.
Look, I don't mean it's bad. I shouldn't say it's bad jerky. It's not bad jerky. It's just I didn't buy it because I love jerky.
Right. You bought it because it's cheeseburger.
I bought it because I wanted to know what cheeseburger jerky would taste like. Also than me being like, I love a good beef jerky, me. Like
I'm not a beef jerky person.
I've had like chicken jerky and like I'm like, but I like chicken a lot more than I eat beef. So
it just, whenever I think of jerky, and weird tangent story now, we did about Native Americans in history when I was in year 8, which is 14 to you. And
thank you for that.
One of the boys in my class made beef jerky in his airing cupboard.
Like the Native Americans did back in their time. Right. They went, let me get the kitchen cupboards out.
I mean, I feel like an airing cupboard is as close to, drying it out on the plains on your teepee, because that's the kind of that's the tribes that we were looking at the time. I used to get really annoyed after we did that unit because like we did Pocahontas as a theme for a brownie pack holiday, and my mum kept being like, let's make teepees, and I was like, Pocahontas was not from a tribe that used to be nomadic. She lived in a log cabin. And mum was like, I don't care, we're making teepees. Like cultural appropriation.
Yeah, like we're making teepees, we're learning about this, but it's not quite right. I don't care, we're making a teepee. Yeah,
I was like, she was a coastal tribe.
I applaud your
thank you
accuracy as well, with your mum as well going, no,
like,
I will not make your teepee. Yeah, it's it does go well with meat. And you, to be fair, you have very kindly given me a second bottle, and I will have it with barbecue. I didn't want to have it until we had it together.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't want to have it and then we have it together. It's like we have to have it the first time together. Now that we've had it, I can take it out of barbecue.
Yeah.
And see how it tastes with actual
I keep going back to
cheeseburger.
it, so it must be good.
I really enjoy it. But I think
it's more savoury than I thought it was going to be.
But I think that's the thing, like, that's what I think really irritates me, those people going, I read the press release for the Oscar Blues one because I was like, that's quite interesting, actually. It's not exactly lengthy. It's not, taxing to read like not even a full page, release on it. So I read it and I was like, what this actually reads like is it's supposed to be citrusy, maybe a bit florally, maybe how it's come across is supposed to pair really well with your barbecue where you're using mustard. I don't personally use mustard on my barbecue, but like to a US audience, they are more likely to use mustard on their burgers. So it's supposed to pair really well with barbecue food where you would be using mustard, or if you're not a person that uses mustard, it's still the concept of you have this mustard beer and it pairs well with something that you would put mustard on.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, that actually just sounds really nice. It sounds like it's a lot of like just citrusy notes and just a really nice like summery drink, especially when it's hot out. Like I bet it's probably really nice when it's hot out as well.
The sun's gone in a little bit here, but when it was sunny earlier,
it started raining.
Oh, has it? Oh, it hasn't started raining here.
It rained here. I got to sit outside at lunch and read a book for about 45 minutes. It was really nice and it was really gorgeously sunny and hot, and it's still hot. It's just cloudy now, but if it was, I would attempt to finish the rest of this outside in the sun, but it's not sunny anymore. But I can see that being really good, and everyone just was like people see these weird beers, for lack of a better way to call
interesting
them.
Beers.
I call them interesting, but people call them weird. And it's like they see them and they go, no, gross. Don't like mustard, gross. Don't like
I don't see how it's any different to the other end of the spectrum where it's like mango, chocolate, pistachio, marshmallow, everything under the sun.
Things that you like things that ingredients
some of those don't go together.
Individually, you're like mango, yes. Yeah. Pistachio, yes. Coconut, yes. Chocolate sauce, yes. And then it's like, some weird thing thrown in as well. Like, I don't know, like a churro and matcha, and you're like, oh, okay. Individually, all tasty things all work well in a beer, and then they're like, we're going to throw them all together for you, and you're like,
sometimes I think it goes too far.
I didn't ask for that. I didn't ask for this.
Like,
I never asked for it.
Can I have those 3 things, and can we just take those 2 out? That
yeah. Like, can we get the things that go like really well together, and then like maybe remove like the matcha from it? Doesn't really mix. But I think people are just too quick to dismiss things. Like, people that'll go, beer should taste like beer, or I miss beer tasting like beer, and then they'll go and they'll drink something else. Yorkshire pudding beer, a really weird, awkward combination. Yorkshire pudding beer tastes like beer, but actually an elevated beer, I think. But they'll turn their nose up at something like this because they go, they're partnered with a big corporation. It's like, and B, I don't like mustard, therefore I don't. It's the same thing with pumpkin beers. Don't like pumpkin, therefore I don't like it. But you've probably never really eaten pumpkin.
Give me all the pumpkin beers.
I am super okay with that. I'm still waving my basic white bee banner through the air.
More pumpkin beers for me.
But I guess what I'm trying to say in a very long-winded way is like, don't just dismiss it because you go, it's mustard, I don't like it.
Try all the beers, like pizza beer. Interesting. You don't have to buy every single one of it. Just try it, because you might actually discover that something's surprisingly really good. Like mustard beer, surprisingly really good. Not that I ever doubted your brewing abilities. But when you think mustard beer, you think that could just be a one and done. But I'm really happy I've got 2 bottles now. I also learnt that if you're putting a lot of peel into a beer, into my tiny demijohn, you do need to cut it up thin, otherwise you will never get it back out again.
Oh no.
Or you will spend 20 minutes over the sink shaking it, trying to get
like
it
a
out.
Polaroid picture, baby.
Oh, it took me a long time to clean that demijohn, and it was mainly because I couldn't get my dry hopping bag out.
Oh boy. That's interesting. That's an interesting.
I feel like I learn something every time I do a new homebrew, and that one was cut up the peel more thinly.
That was what was the thing that you learned from making the donut one? It's like you have to keep them in big enough chunks to dry out the donuts, because if you don't keep them in big enough chunks to dry out the donuts, they'll crumble.
Yeah, they'll go into croutons, and then you get a stuck mash. And also, always, and from that one as well, always make sure you've got a blow off tube handy,
or know how to MacGyver one. So
which is what I did.
Know how to MacGyver it,
which is exactly what I did.
Oh man, that was brilliant. But yeah, that was a lovely beer.
TikTok of that coming soon.
Yeah, God.
You're welcome.
I think that's
I like a little challenge, and that was it. Well, if people want to at you for liking mustard beer, where can they find you?
Or taking your lovely homebrew and shoving it in a mustard bottle.
Yes.
You can at me. I won't care. I'll just keep doing it anyways. On Instagram at adventures_in_optimism. Where can people find you? Where are all the locations people can
all the places,
including Pinterest.
Including Pinterest.
Always my favorite one.
You can find me on my personal account, which is A Woman's Brew. That is on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I don't really use the Twitter. But you can go to my Twitter and you can see all the beers that I've checked on Untapped. I haven't done it recently. I'm very behind. Or you can find my beer school, Love Beer Learning, where we have the crazy old TikToks and interesting facts and figures about beers. We are Love Beer Learning, and that is on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, the TikToks, and Pinterest. We also have our website. I have my website, which is lovebeerlearning.co.uk, or you can email us lovebeerlearning@gmail.com. We'll pick up any emails for the podcast there. Let us know what other crazy beers you want me to brew and what other episodes you would like to hear.
Yes, and next week it's going to be our super special edition. That's going to be for Women on Tap Festival.
Yep.
Our submission to that. So go check out Women on Tap. We'll be promoting it on our socials anyways for that throughout the week. It's due to release with them on the 11th. May or may not release on our platforms after that. We don't know yet. We'll figure that out later. But give that a listen. Check out Women on Tap. yeah, listen to us. If you want us to try doing things like more lives or anything like that, let us know. I think we should get into Twitch streaming. That's where I think we will shine, as Twitch streaming.
Do you think
that is where our tangents will really shine, as the Twitch streaming.
I think that's true.
But yeah, and on that note, thank you, Jo. This is lovely.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
Cheers.